Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to share this delightful, brilliant woman with you today. You are looking at Debbie Adea, and she's going to talk to us about podcasting on purpose. And I'm going to give more of a proper introduction about who Debbie is. She is the host of the Spiritual Entrepreneur Podcast and the creator of Podcast on Purpose Online Academy. Spiritual entrepreneurs and leaders hire Debbie to help them embrace their soul's purpose and to share their message and mission with the world through their online media platform and or soul-driven lifestyle business. Well, it never fails. There we go. So Debbie, welcome to the final training in the Potpourri Expert Webinar Series. And you guys, Debbie's here because she was part of the Accountability Challenge in Front Row VIP, and her team, Go For It. It was Go For It, right?
Team Go For It. Go For It.
Team Go For It went for it, and they won. And one of their prizes was that they could present a training to our larger community of almost 6,000 members. And then I asked them to include a really juicy offer at the end. So make sure you stay till the end because Debbie's going to do just that. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. And I'm just going to hand the microphone over to you and sit back and take notes and learn.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Jen, and welcome everybody. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for being here. I know there's a lot of places you could be, and there's a lot going on in the world, and I just honor you for being here and doing what you need to do to get your message and mission out in a bigger way. So thanks for joining us. And I do want to just acknowledge you, Jen. Thank you so much for doing this. You go above and beyond for the people in your front row and your front row VIP. So if you guys haven't checked out her program, it's exceptional, extraordinary. I'm actually a lifetime member now, so highly encourage you to check it out if you haven't yet. And I don't know if it's open right now, but she can let you know about that. So today I'm excited to talk to you about podcasting on purpose. As we talk about what's going on in the world right now, this new normal, the new normal is probably going to be not so normal for the foreseeable future. We have so many things that are shifting and changing, and we're being called to adapt and adjust in ways that we have not had to before. A lot of people that are speakers are finding that their stages are no longer open. People that had brick and mortar businesses are being called to go online. There's a lot of shifts and changes that are happening, and we're really learning quickly how to adjust. And some of us who've been doing the online thing for a long time, not as much. But I think you're really going to enjoy what we talk about today because it's a great stage for you if you've lost your stage. And it's also a great way to reach your ideal clients as well through podcasting. So you're in the right place today if you have a message or mission that has been pushing on your heart and your soul that you feel really compelled to share. Or if you are not sure what your message is yet, but you feel something stirring inside of you. There's something inside of you pushing you with two hands, like you're supposed to be getting out there and sharing something. You're not quite sure what it is, but you know what's coming. Or if you've been wondering about this thing called podcasting or think maybe I should host one because you listen to a ton of them and you just love them and you want to have your own. Or if you love to speak and share your message and your regular stages have dried up, as I mentioned earlier, due to the pandemic, or you need an online platform to grow your message and business, you're in the perfect place if that is you. So today I want to kind of give you a little ethical bribe to stay with me to the end. I know it's a full day. So if you stay with me to the end, I'm going to give you what I call my free podcast interview prep guide. It's what I call you'll get a free pre-flight interview checklist, sample interview questions, and a space to create your own. You can write in your own, as well as a checklist for closing out your interview. This will really help you when you start doing your podcast to kind of keep you on track as you go through it. So in our time together today, I'm going to share briefly about my journey of podcasting with you, the huge benefits to podcasting on purpose. We're going to talk about tips on how to grow your show and find new guests. I'm going to share with you the number one mistake that I see that podcasters make, the number one success principle that leads to longevity in podcasting. If you don't have this, it's going to be really challenging to keep your show going. And how to monetize your podcast is a question I get a lot. Also share some of my favorite podcasting tools and services. My friend calls me Chic Geek. I'm big into tech gadgets. And I'm also going to have some time for Q&A. So if there's any questions you have, please hold them to the end. I'm going to do my best to leave some time at the end. And if I can, I'll stay with you in the group to answer some questions as well. And then, as Jen mentioned, she asked us to make a special offer. So I have a special offer for you guys just for Jen's front row. So my promise to you, today you will learn how you can establish yourself as an expert and connect with other leaders in your industry so that you can grow your reach and influence in the marketplace. We're going to talk about how to attract quality leads and develop deep and loyal relationships with your ideal clients from the comfort of your own home, which we will all be in probably for a while, and microphone, one conversation at a time, and how to create a channel for monetizing your message and be listed on platforms like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneCore, iHeart Radio, Spotify, Pandora, all with the push of a button. So my journey to podcasting, it actually started in this home that I'm in right now. I'm visiting my family in Washington, D.C. I grew up in what I call a very mystical yet also very metaphysical family. So my dad was a banker. He's president of a bank. He was also a yogi. My grandpa was in the FBI and my grandma was a mystic. My mom was a VA before VAs were a thing, but she was also a clairvoyant. So the conversations at our dinner table were a little bit different than they are at most dinner tables. So we would have visitations and really random things that most people don't know about. And I remember being at school when I was in kindergarten and talking to a kid at school about who was at our house for dinner, which was a deceased relative had visited. And I don't have that gift, but my mother does. And this kid was like, "What, you freak? Are you kidding? You know, dead people don't come to dinner." And I just remember learning at that young age that there was this part of myself that I couldn't talk about. And I went to my grandma and my mom. I'm like, "Why is he calling me a freak? I thought that was normal conversation." And they said, "Because if you talk about what we talk about at the dinner table, they'll lock you in a rubber room and throw away the key. You can't do that." And so I quickly learned to hide this part of myself. And maybe you've had that experience too, where there's some part of yourself that you don't feel is okay to share. It's that part of you that is like unique and rich, but maybe you're afraid of being judged for having that part of yourself, you know? So I tucked that away. I went and I became a salutatorian in my high school class, went to Carnegie Mellon, got a dual degree in information decision systems and management, went to work for Oracle Corporation and worked there for 7 years, really focusing in on what I thought I should do. And while I was making really great money and I was doing a lot of speaking and traveling, I was feeling this thing inside of me that was pushing on my heart and my soul, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but I couldn't seem to experience fulfillment no matter how much money I made, no matter I did my whole bucket list. And I still felt like even the experiences were great, but there was something lacking. So I left and I went to train with Tony Robbins companies as a results coach. And I thought maybe contribution would make a difference. And I would feel that fulfillment of that thing that was pushing inside of me. And while the contribution was amazing, I felt like there was so much more I was supposed to share. So I spent most of my career really searching to fulfill that thing that was pushing inside of me. And maybe you can relate that maybe there's something inside of you that's been pushing inside of you, or maybe you've already started to express it, but there's something you know is there that you're meant to share, that purpose that you're here to bring. And so I went to, one day I was flying on a plane from San Diego, which is where I live now, to DC and back again. And I listened to a podcast on podcasting. And at the end of the flight, I was convinced I wanted to have my own show. So I called up my friend Flavia Barris, who's also in Front Row. She's who introduced me to Front Row on Front Row VIP. Hi, Flavia. And I said, "Flavia, I think I want to start a show." And so she said, "Me too." So we set up 8 weeks out. We were going to start our own show. We set a deadline, and in which I would really encourage you to do if you're going to be doing your own podcast. Set a deadline, have accountability. It makes a world of difference. And here's the thing. I said, "I don't know what I want to do my podcast on." And she said, "Well, why don't you use that domain you have from 1999 called spiritualentrepreneur.com?" And this was the moment that I had the aha. I was like, "Oh, I get it. I have been tucking away this part of myself for so long that I'm scared to share it." And I was like, "I can't do that." And she's like, "Well, you need to pick something. So you have 72 hours to decide." And I was terrified. And maybe you can relate. Maybe there's something you're wanting to share, but you're just so scared to put it out there. You're afraid of being seen for all of the totality of who you are. And so within 72 hours, I didn't have something better. So I went with Spiritual Entrepreneur. And when you launch your show, you're going to launch with 3 episodes. You're going to have an intro and 2 others because people like to binge listen. It's a great way to start your show off. And so typically those will go in sequential order. You'll start with your intro and then you'll do 2 other episodes. Well, for me, I went backwards because I was so scared to share my story. And I did it last. And so literally the last day of the day I said I was going to launch my show, I had to, was accountable. And I, as a coach, I couldn't not be accountable. So I did 3 tries that day. And I said, you get the best of 3. You can replace it later if you need to. And I was shaking sharing my story. It was so scary to put that out there, which is my first episode. If you want to check it out, you can go to spiritualentrepreneur.com and listen to the first episode. And I did that back in 2016 at midnight on May 31st, 2016. I published my show. And they didn't lock me in a rubber room. Nothing happened that was terrible. It was a beautiful experience, and my life changed forever. We're now at over 236 episodes, and I loved it so much that I actually launched 2 more podcasts. So I have Podcast on Purpose and Devi TV. So what I've learned through that whole process is that podcasts give you a global stage that you own and manage. No one else can take, if you click a link, put a link on Facebook, they can close down your account. On your podcast, you own your RSS feed. So no one can do anything with your show. It's your show. You can say whatever you need to say. And you manage that asset from your laptop anywhere in the world. You can even do it from your phone if you want to. I've had power go out at hotels where I've posted my episode from my phone. And it's a huge asset to your life and business. What you will find is that stages open for you. You'll have way more places to speak. They may not be physical stages right now because of the pandemic, but you will find that you'll have all sorts of opportunities to share your message in other places as host of your show that you did not have before. You'll also find that you get requests for other types of things like online summits. I get these all the time that can help you to grow your list if you're interested in doing something like that. And as a person who has your own podcast, people can be pretty confident that you're going to be comfortable speaking on a microphone, and that you're really going to know how to deliver your message in a bigger way. You'll get these all the time. And the most important thing that I found that's really amazing about podcasting are the incredible guests that you will get to have on your show. The relationships that you create from these, I have, affiliate relationships that have been created, lifetime friendships that have been created, extraordinary referrals that have come to other people that have become lifetime friends. It will grow your business in a way that you cannot even expect or know about before you have your own show. And what you'll find is that as you start to grow and your podcast has a lot more episodes, you'll become one of the most well-connected people that you know. And that's a huge gift in business. You'll also get invited into other forms of media like radio shows. I've had some mainstream media coverage too for my show. We were listed in the Coronadote for the coronavirus of the Coronadote podcasts. We were listed as number 5 in the top 25. This would not have happened if I did not have a show. There's something called pod swapping, where you can actually swap onto other people's shows, where you invite them on your show and you can go on their show. And there's a lot of different shows that you'll be invited to be on as you have your own. It's like a stage you can share to swap for physical stages and virtual stages. And people, as you have them on your show, will shout out to their audiences, which helps you to grow your show and your own audience as well. It's very viral. My best clients ever, and not to knock any of my clients because I have the best clients ever anyway, but my favorites lately have been from my show. And the reason why is because they listen to my show. They've known me for years. They love you. They trust you. Like there's a level of connection that happens with someone through podcasting that will give you a client. They know exactly who they're getting before they get to you. And they're ready to go. They're ready to work with you when you actually connect with them. I've had some of my best coaching clients. I've had some of my great podcasting clients from listeners of my show. And it's really incredible too when you have listeners that come to you and say how you've changed their life, and then they want to work with you. So it's amazing, and it's super fun. So this is actually some of my other friends. They own different podcasts. We're actually in up near LA, and it's a watermelon raft. This is before the pandemic. Don't worry, face masks would have been worn otherwise. But this is we're actually with the Tascam and 2 microphones doing a podcast from the pool in a little plastic bucket. People will send you gifts. You get gifts all the time from people. This is a chocolate box I got from someone who's on my show. There's shoes that you get. You get all kinds of random gear from people that come on your show as well. And you can also have people will send you things that are just like nice letters that you'll get that you can stick on your wall and keep around you just for inspiration. So I wanted to ask you this question. First of all, if you're listening and if you can type in, do you listen to podcasts, first of all, just a Y or N? And if so, how many episodes do you listen to per week? And I'd also love to know where you listen to them. And I don't know, Jen or Nika, if either of you guys can let me know if we get anything typed in there, just kind of give me some of those stats. I just want to see where you are with the averages. So some interesting statistics. Podcast listeners listen to an average of 7 shows per week. And weekly podcast listeners spend an average of 6 hours and 37 minutes per week listening to shows, which is quite a bit of time, right? Listening to podcasts. 37% of the US population listens to podcasts. You can kind of see where you fit in there. And 45% of monthly podcast listeners have a household income of over $75,000 versus 35% of the total population, which is great, especially if you have high-end things that you're wanting to share with people or you're wanting them to be able to easily invest in what it is that you have to offer. And 20% of US podcast listeners have a 4-year college degree versus 19% for the overall US population. And something really kind of funny I thought was at 75% right now, more people know what a podcast is than know who the vice president is at 40%. So podcasts have really become more mainstream. And if you can see, you really know where an industry is going if you look at the money that's been going into it. So starting back in 2015, podcast ad revenue was just at $69 million. And over the years, you can see the upward trend. We're now at $659 million going in projected for 2020. That's a good sign that podcasting is here to stay. And we're definitely on a hockey stick curve with that as it increases. And over 50% of marketing agencies recommend podcast advertising because it outperforms other media advertising. And this is because you develop such a unique relationship between you and the listener. And most of those ads are done in the voice of the podcaster. This is actually some of the other money that's coming into the industry. Spotify, which is one of the podcatchers, it paid roughly $340 million to buy Gimlet, which is kind of the high end of podcasting, and Anchor, which is kind of the very bottom of like in terms of it's self-done, right? Podcasting. The top and bottom of the industry they purchased. And they also purchased Parcast, which was acquired for $55 million. So you can see they're putting a lot of money in. And just this year, that was in 2019, this year they purchased Bill Simmons' The Ringer for $200 million, which is crazy for if you create, your own show and end up selling it, if that's kind of your exit strategy. So another question for you, how many people do you let talk directly into your ear? I know for me, I'm very particular about who gets to whisper into my ear. Maybe my husband, maybe really close friends. But with podcasting, it's really intimate by design. You share your experience with your listener in their ear, and you're with them in their daily life. Now, this is probably going to be more at home right now, although they were saying that on there's this podcast called The Feed that's by Libsyn, and they release stats all the time. They were saying that actually car podcasts were up right now. So not general transportation, but people are in their car more. They've actually increased, I forget the exact percentage recently. So people are probably going to be listening more at home. Maybe they're going to be taking their car out somewhere on a drive, not so much in public transportation anymore, but they may be gardening. You become a part of the fabric of their everyday life. And that gives you an opportunity to spend quite a bit of time with them in their organic environment and become a part of their world. And if you think about it, how much of your time do you spend posting on social media? I'm imagining you probably spend quite a bit of time. I think most of us do. But what is the engagement that you get for that? Like, how long does it take for someone to read a tweet? 10 seconds, maybe watch a video, maybe like 10, 12 minutes, maybe 20, if it's like a long video that they want to watch, or like read a post on Facebook. That's going to be kind of quick, right? Well, how long does it take to listen to your favorite podcast? A lot of them, minimum like 20 minutes, usually up to like an hour and something. They're very long shows. Like my show is between 40 minutes to an hour. Well, what's amazing about that is 80% of listeners listen to almost all of the episode that they download. So you're getting so much time in the lives of the people that you're speaking to, in their home, in their garden, in their car, where you're developing a relationship with them in their ear that is so unique compared to any other medium that they're doing. And they can do it when they're doing other things. You come with them throughout the day. So, and how many of you feel like you know the ghost, the host, I'm the ghost, the host of your favorite podcast really well? I know for me, the shows that I listen to, like, I feel like they're my best friend. Like, I know them so well. I know their dog. I know their home. I know what shoes they like, what they drink, I mean, everything about them. You feel like you really know the person, right? And think about the kind of relationship that you could develop with an audience in that amount of time. And it's stuff that you can batch. You don't have to record your episodes every week. You can pre-batch and have them go out on an ongoing schedule where you don't have to be there. People will continue to find you too. They're evergreen. So if I quit podcasting today, my podcast would still be going on for years to come without me doing anything. So the top success principle that I found, and this is across the board that makes people successful. If you think about if you were going to go out on a date with someone and they didn't show up, how would you feel? You're like scheduled, you get all dressed up, you put your makeup on, you go to meet them and they're not there. So, well, this happens sometimes when people are not consistent in podcasting. They think they're going to go listen to their show that week and the host doesn't show up. So you really want to be consistent and have a show that goes out. You can choose monthly, bi-weekly, weekly. Some people do it daily. I don't really recommend that unless you're really gung-ho in podcasting. I do weekly, and they can start to count on you. You create a rhythm with your listeners. So you really want to be consistent. That's the number one key. And while this looks really positive, the number one mistake that I see people make is doing things that they don't love about podcasting. So pod fade is a thing. A lot of times podcasters will fade before they get to 11 to 12 episodes, meaning they just let their show sit there and it's not adding episodes anymore. And the reason why I found across the board that happens is because people are doing parts of podcasting that they don't like. So I've met very few people who love to edit, but the people who do love to edit your show. If you don't. Focus in on your gift. If you're the talent, be the talent. If you're the interviewer, be the interviewer, but do what you love. This is about podcasting on purpose. So number one mistake I see is doing everything on your own, and not outsourcing the pieces that need to be outsourced. And Jen has the Front Row CEO. If you haven't checked that out, they're really great at helping you with figuring that piece out as well. So pro tip on how to find new guests. This is one thing that helped me to grow my show really quickly, is at the end of your episode, you literally ask this one question. So now that you've been on the show and you know what to expect, who is your top one or two people that you think would be absolutely perfect as a guest on the show? And you just zip your mouth and you wait. And they'll think for a minute and then they'll give you a name and you say, great, would you be willing to make an introduction? I have gotten 10 referrals from one person doing this. You'll get the most amazing guests you wouldn't have found on your own. And then eventually you'll have all these people applying to be on your show and you'll have too much demand for the supply that you have available in terms of episodes to bring people on. Some different ways that you can monetize your message. There's paid advertising. You can actually sell spots or packages for your show. You can link in sponsorship packages that include press kits if you want, social media shout outs. You can actually package them with other pieces that you have and just sell tiers. I know a guy who sells silver, gold, and platinum. And I think his platinum's a couple 100,000 a year. And he only has 2 spots, I think, for each one, with a certain number of show spots, as well as a press release and social media shout outs. So you can package them however you want, but you can have paid sponsors on your show where you get that money incoming just from having your show going out and publishing. You can do affiliate sales. A great thing to do is if you're an affiliate for another product or there's somebody who you really love the work of, you can have them on the show and then interview them about what they do, so they get to kind of get the behind the scenes of the founder, and then at the end, share your affiliate link for purchasing whatever it is that they have, and then both of you benefit. You can sell event tickets. I know people who fill their retreats 100% from their podcast. You can sell your own products through your podcast. You can sell coaching. Some of my best coaching clients have come from my show. I know a woman who does a show specifically where she coaches on air, and that's the episode. And what happens is people get to experience her coaching, and then people hire her as a coach, right? You can do book promotions. You can attract, again, just client attraction in general. If you, intend with your show to put that out, it's a little more of the law of attraction side of it. You can do crowdfunding. And you can also, again, sell courses if you have online courses. I love to sell my online courses through my show, my Podcast on Purpose course. Again, I have a lot of people ask me, do I need super fancy equipment? And the answer is, it's great if you can get it. This microphone I'm using right now is less than $100 to have, and it sounds amazing. And it's super easy. It plugs right into a USB to USB-C for my Mac. Love it. But if you even have a lapel mic, I was here at Roger Love's event, and this is in Los Angeles, across from the Grammy Museum. Couldn't be a louder place. And I'm in the hotel room over there at the Lux. And I did a show on a Rode, RODE, lapel mic, holding it like this, because I had left my microphone at home, and I called it Taking the Show on the Road. And it sounds just like I'm using a studio microphone. Amazing. So you can get started. Don't let equipment be an issue for you to slow you down.
Debbie, from the minute you started talking, I was like, I wrote a big fat note to myself to ask you what are you using. It does sound really, really good.
It's an Audio-Technica ATR 2005. And I had a guy, Robbie Richmond, who used to do work with Zappos Quality. And I heard him on my show, and I heard his voice, and I was like, oh my God, you sound like butter. I want that one. So I went and bought it. And it's
I got the Audio-Technica ATR 20. That's not what I'm talking into now. 2100. And I bought it 3 times because it's broken, but when it works great.
Yeah. So a lot of the people that teach podcasting recommend the 2100. However, I went to audio. I'm a bit of, like I said, chic geek. So I went on the Audio-Technica site, and the reviews for the 2005 are actually better.
I'm getting it. All right. So, thank you. That was
you're welcome.
Sorry to interrupt you. That was super selfish of me.
No, and I have a list actually. There's when we get to the equipment piece of this, you'll get to see, I have a little list. You can go, and I have all my studio recommendations there for you. You can.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So, one of also the really great things about podcasting is it's automatically served up for you. When you push publish, it goes out to all of the different podcatchers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever people are listening, iHeartRadio in their car. And you don't have to do anything. Those people are automatically subscribed, and they receive your episode. And also it helps you to be an instant expert. I mean, there's something to host of XYZ podcast, right? It sounds really good. It's equivalent to a long speaking career, or being an author of a book, or having educational credentials. It can really give you an expert status if that's something you're wanting to create too, to do other things with your business. And it also allows you to charge higher fees. Some more of what I love, it allows you to be yourself and share your message authentically. You know, for me, sharing my message was so scary, but this was a place that I could do it and then push publish, and nothing bad happened, right? If you have a fear of video too, you don't have to be camera ready. I know it's good to be on video. I highly encourage it. You can also repurpose the audio from your videos for podcasting. However, if you're just trying to get your foot in the water, it's a great place, tipping your toe in, to get out there and start sharing your message. And you can do it really from anywhere. You don't need to worry about how things are set up around you. It's content that can be repurposed. You can transcribe it and turn it into books. If you do a video, you use the audio. You can do things with your video, but the audio itself, you can turn into little, there's an app called Headliner you can use. You can create these little audiograms you can put up on YouTube. You can really reuse that for so many different things. And you're now officially press. So I have friends that will go and get press passes to their favorite events, and they'll go in the back area before the staging area for the speakers, connect with people, do interviews with them. And I even have friends that'll sit in the front row of the people that kind of get ushered in and leave quickly, and not during the pandemic, obviously, but they'll sit there, take pictures from the front row, literally front row, and they'll tweet them to someone or send them to their social media message with, "It was great to hear you. I love this about you. By the way, I have this show. I'd love to interview you." And they create connections that way too with people you wouldn't normally be able to reach any other way. That have a real barricade around them. Some of my favorite tools, and some of my students' favorite tools for show transcription and editing. This is a new tool that I absolutely love. It's called Descript. And basically you record, and you can do it through Zoom, or you can do it direct in. When you edit your podcast, you don't edit the waveform, you edit the text, and it edits the waveform for you, meaning you're not actually in there doing audio editing, you're doing text editing, and it's changing the actual audio itself. And if you use a word that you didn't mean to use, like let's say I say the word road and I meant to say avenue, I can delete the word road and type in the word avenue, and it will say the word avenue in your voice. And it sounds really good. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it, but it's
No way.
way.
Which one is that?
It's the top one. Descript. It's
Okay.
amazing. Descript
Okay.
app. It's incredible.
Oh my
If
God.
you didn't want to use that and you want to just do transcription and the transcription, by the way, for Descript's amazing. It's incredible. It's better than Otter, Timmy. Probably Rev is still a little better because it's done by humans, but it's incredible. It's my favorite new transcription and editing way to edit if you don't have a team. And then scheduling, I loved Acuity scheduling is amazing. This is something that will save you so much time. If you set up an Acuity scheduling link and you have people come in and sign up as your link, then what happens is they will send you all the information and it literally will show up inside of your calendar. And you'll be able to see their bio, the show topic, and everything. And you can use your phone to introduce them. I do this all the time. But it'll save you so much time every episode, not going back and forth, but having it automated. My favorite hosting platform has been around forever is Libsyn. They're based out of Pittsburgh, and that's where I went to school. So I happen to like that too. If you want to get a month and a half free for media hosting, that's my coupon code. It's LOVE. You can also just go direct or whatever, but they're the best media host, I think, in terms of tried and true. That's been around for a long time. A lot of my friends who podcast use them. Recording. You can record your podcast directly on Zoom, which is fantastic. And if you configure it properly, you can actually have separate audio tracks. So you can kind of do more fine-tuning audio editing if you want. And when you do that, basically you're going to be saving it to your local computer and you're going to be optimizing the audio for video so it has the best quality sound. So Zoom is really easy. Most people know how to use Zoom. Your guests will know how to use Zoom. And you can just send them a simple link and they click on that and open it up and they're ready to go. And then this Crisp.ai, my friend Flavia recommended this to me as well. It is it's an app that you can load that will mute the background sound so you don't hear things as loudly when you're recording. So if you have a loud environment, it helps a lot. If you have this turned on, and it's basic, I don't know how they do it, but they mute out some of the background sound so that you don't have it when in your track when it's recording, and you still sound really good. So that's a great app to have if you're at home with kids and doing homeschooling and God only knows what else during this time. I actually syndicate my show onto Binge TV. They link up to Roku. They link up to Amazon Fire. They have a lot of different outlets. So you can if you do video and you rip the audio for your podcast, you can put that video out on literally a TV channel that you might see on like an Amazon Fire, which is really a cool thing to be able to do. StreamYard we're using right now. I don't actually use that myself, but my students love it. And I think I probably will start using it given how easy this was today. LiveLeap is another thing you can use. I have a good friend who has a real estate show and he has different areas where he does real estate. So different states in the US. So he has actual Facebook groups in all of the different places that he does business and teaches. And so he uses LiveLeap when he goes live and he uses Zoom and Zoom streams into Facebook. He then live leaps it to all of his Facebook groups so that all of those groups get to see the same thing at the same time, similar to what StreamYard, I believe, is doing for us right now. And it'll notify people on LinkedIn that you're live. It'll notify them on other platforms that you're live on Facebook at that time. And he's built out audiences in those areas. So when he goes local, he already has an existing group to go and speak to, which again, with the pandemic, I don't know how that's going. And then repurpose.io is fantastic if you want to just have your RSS feed automatically turned into little videos and streamed off to YouTube. You can have that done. My friend pauses them and changes the title. I believe that's an important thing to do with social media now. You don't want them to have the same titles if they're going to different places, but it's a great tool for that. And then again, this is where you can get that free studio recommendations guide. It's a little opt-in page so we can stay in touch, but that's where you go to podcastingonpurpose.com. So this is the special request that Jenna put in that I put together, a special offer for you for Front Row. If you are feeling like you're called to doing a podcast, I really would love to support you, especially if you're feeling like, gosh, there's something pushing on my heart and my soul, my purpose. I know I'm here to help with this evolution that we're going through as a human species together. I'd really love to help support you with that. So I have this course. It's called Podcast on Purpose Online Academy. It's been around for quite a while. It's a complete online training course that will give you everything that you need to take your idea for a podcast into a syndicated platform on all of those main podcatchers, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Radio, Pandora, you name it. Once you get it set up this way, it's really easy to have those in all those places. And the course shows you how to do it on all of them. Why it's really great for you, whether you're a speaker, an entrepreneur, a thought leader, a creative, or anyone that just has that message that is pressing on your heart and your soul to share, this course will give you a global platform and open up all of the amazing benefits that I just shared with you previously. This is some of the things included in the course. We talk about a lot of different things, your message, your audience, your brand, your show format. I'll let you take a look at the list. And I want to give time for Q&A, so I won't dive too much into it here, but you can see monetizing your podcast, syndicated platforms, and there's more of this too on the page that I'm going to share with you at the end if you want to kind of go through all of that. The course is about really podcasting on purpose, which is what I believe makes it different. There's a lot of people that talk about kind of podcasting just to have a show. Podcasting on purpose is really about, for me, the people I really love to serve are the ones that feel like you just have a mission you're here to give, and you're here to serve humanity in a bigger way with that unique mix of you. And I really love to support that. And that's what this course has really been designed for. And I also bring a lot of my extensive coaching background that I received over the years that I've been doing since 99 or 2000, whatever that was. It's been a long time. I bring that to the table too to help keeping moving forward. We've launched a lot of different shows through the course. And these are just some of the things that people have had to say about it. I know people like to know. Other people love it. You can see here my friend Wade, he actually has got the 4-Day Workweek podcast. He said he'd taken 2 other courses and couldn't implement them, but he said that I helped him to clarify his why and vision for the podcast and to create a simple, detailed, achievable path to launch. And then we also have an online group that goes along with this where you can get peer support and ask questions about your show artwork, your topic, whatever it is, and get feedback and help, which is really great. And I'm always there with everyone. Anyone who comes into my courses, I'm with you all the way. And then my friend, my clients become my friends, just if you can't tell. Everyone's my friend, Sarah McCardle. She's amazing. She was saying that receiving weekly lessons with just enough information and steps ensured she didn't get too intimidated or overwhelmed in putting her show together. And she felt like it just definitely gave her a doable checklist. So she's amazing. If you want to check out any of these shows, they're great. The first woman, actually, by the way, Jerry, she got notified by someone came to an event that she was at speaking, and she goes, "Oh my God, I recognize you. You have a cuppa with the Queen. I recognize your voice." They knew who she was by her voice, which I thought was interesting. So in order to have this group of people that you're serving, you could either go to broadcasting school and learn all the concepts, but no marketing, and wait a couple of years to be ready to start. And that's about $13,000 a year. You could hire a coach or consultant to do it for you, which is quite a bit of money, $5,000 to $10,000. And then you still keep paying them. Or you could, wait for the pandemic to end and set up your own stage. And if you wanted to have even the average number of listeners that you get on the show, you'd be talking about setting up a stage for $30,000 or $50,000 a week. Or you could try and learn how to do your podcast on your own, but you go through a lot of mistakes. And, really, how much is your time worth? So, or you can do something with Podcast on Purpose, which it's a course that'll give you exclusive private membership area and high quality video tutorials that'll walk you step by step through the process. It's usually valued at $997, but with the pandemic and everything going on, we have a special pricing right now of $697. I'm really wanting to make this affordable for people who are wanting to get their message out. And if that's not even something you can do, we also have a 3-pay option of $247. And this is just to give you kind of a sneak peek into it. I don't know if this, yeah, there we go. This is in Kajabi, and Jen, I know you love Kajabi too. You should check it out. If you don't have Kajabi, Jen, I'm sure has a great link for you and what you can use for a trial, but it's really beautiful. It's well organized. It'll give you everything that you need for launching things in your own private area. I also give you lifetime access to the Pod Tribe VIP community, which is normally going to be $79 a month. I'm starting to do more membership-based pricing. But if you do this now with us, you'll get a lifetime access to that. As long as we have that group, you have access. You'll also get 6 live office hours with me. I do these periodically throughout the year, so you can repeat them if you want. But you'll also get the 6 kickoff with me. you'll get copy and paste email templates. I spent a lot of time creating email templates for communicating with guests. It took me a lot of time. I share these with you, and a video tutorial on what to do when you're congested. That same guy, Roger Love, he basically was saying, if you have congestion, there's a technique that you can use to help you to open your throat and speak more clearly, which will help you in so many different ways, but it'll also save you a lot of time, not a lot of missed opportunities that you might have. And then I also show you how to schedule your guests on autopilot with Acuity scheduling, which will save you tons of time. So the total bonuses are a little over 9,000. And if you guys decide to register within 72 hours of when this is going on, special just for Jen's Front Row, I'm going to give you a private session with me where we can go through as a group and just lay out all of your podcasts. Make sure you're all set up, you've got everything ready to go, and then you'll also have the office hours as well. So surprise bonus too, if you have concerns about your voice or you don't like the sound of your voice, I've also put together a special video on how to teach you to be vocally attractive on your podcast. I actually, during that time of finding my soul, I did some semi-professional singing, trained with a lot of different people. I can help you with some of that as well. And a double surprise bonus, if you're already doing video for your podcast and your business, we can repurpose that. So we can use that video audio for your podcast. And I teach you how to do that too. There's your 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. You don't like it, you send it back. And this is basically it. You get the Podcast on Purpose Online Academy, lifetime access to Pod Tribe VIP, 6 live office hours with me, the copy and paste sample emails, video training on what to do when you're congested, video training on how to schedule your guests on autopilot, video training on how to be vocally attractive, and video training on how to repurpose your video audio on podcasts. So, and you also get this special call just for Jen's Front Row. If you have any questions about that, you can always email support@deviadea.com. That's support@myname.com. And let us know that you're from the front row. And, we'll answer any questions you have. And also, once you sign up, email us and we'll get you registered on that call too. So the online course value is normally $997 with the bonuses of over $9,000. Total package value is over $10,000. But again, with this special package, because Jen wanted something juicy for you guys, we give you a special price of $697 or 3 monthly payments of $247. And to do that, you can go to podcastonpurpose.com. And then again, email me so you get that special bonus. And that again is for a limited time, just so you guys know. I don't want you guys to come back later. I don't know how long this is in the group for. So, and since you waited to the end, this is where you can go to get that prep guide. I want to give you the gift of staying here today. You go to deviadea.com/prep guide. I believe that Nika's putting that in the comments as well for you. And I wanted to leave some time for Q&A. Let's see how we're doing. We've only got a couple minutes. So maybe I'll stay around in the group and answer questions, or does that sound good to you?
You're
Jen,
fine.
or?
No, you're
Okay.
fine. We don't have to rush.
Okay.
I still have a few minutes unless you have a hard out at like 2:45.
I have not. I'm here for you guys however long. Yeah.
Okay.
Jen's good.
So got a couple of questions. So Elizabeth wanted to know, how big of a deal does your podcast need to be considered press?
It doesn't need to be a big of a deal. If you just go in and you say that you have your podcast, you could have like 3 episodes. As long as you're a published syndicated show, they'll give you a press pass.
And by published and syndicated, that just means you can be found on iTunes and all
Apple
right?
Podcasts, Spotify. Like you just say, this is my show. That's it. And you can get to press pass.
Okay. And then Barbara said, what do you wish you knew when you first started podcasting, or what would you do differently?
That's a great question. So I edited my first 75 episodes.
Oh my God.
And that was a bad idea. So, I'm a little bit, like I said, chic geek. I love to do techie stuff too. But what I was starting to find about 70 episodes in is I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it wasn't that I didn't love doing the show, it's that I didn't love editing. And so I would get probably like 1 or 2 guests in the can, like, because I would only in the can, meaning like I would pre-record a couple and then I would just stick with about that amount. And I wasn't getting a lot more referrals. And then I outsourced the editing of my show. I had 10 new referrals that day. I have like 150 people who want to be on the show now that I don't have time to bring everyone on. So, but it just opened everything up because I started putting myself in the flow of what I meant to do, which is really being that channel for, the spiritual entrepreneur and, sharing my own message and helping others express that voice of their soul through the platform. And so the editing by far, that's why I know it's one of the number one mistakes. I would definitely say the number one is don't do the things that are not your gift to do. I can do them, but there's people who love to edit, and that's not me. So,
And
that's what
that's
I would
not
say.
making you any money. Like that's not
Yes.
your revenue producing time. Like you need to be out there being your genius self and being with the world and interviewing more people and connecting with more people. So yeah, that's a great message. I want to say a couple of things. One is I love the way in your offer that you did the bonus and then the double bonus and then the double, but I was getting so into that. I was like, oh, this is cool. What's coming next? So I think I'm going to do that. That was next time I do an offer on a webinar, I'm going to steal that. The other thing that I want to say, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just say, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
So the other thing I want to say is that I think those of us in this digital space and we're, tackling, throwing our hat in the ring for online business and all that kind of stuff and giving it a go, or we've been at it a while, it can sort of feel like everybody has a podcast and that yours is just going to get lost in a sea of podcasts. But what I want to say is like, think about when it's not COVID and you're at your kid's soccer game or you're wherever you're out and about, right? And then look around at the people like in your immediate circle and then go like, do they have a podcast? Do they have no, those people don't have a podcast. Most of those people do not have a podcast. You're really cool because you have a podcast and that cool. Like, I love the way that you showed all the ways that you could leverage that podcast. And I think like if for no other reason, if you create a podcast for $697, where someone's going to show you not only how to set it up step by step, the tech, all the extras, the way to modulate your voice correctly, the way to make people feel engaged with you, and how to market it. Okay, forget about it. This is a no-brainer because for $697, you are building a whole thing. You could really, it would not be incorrect to say that you are building a business for $697 because many people use podcasting as a business. So if you're a coach and you don't have to sell on your podcast, because like when you're talking about whatever thing you want to talk about or whatever lesson you want to teach, just simply bringing in your stories and saying, I worked with a client last week on one of our intensives, and the client had trouble with like going to sleep at night. And this is how we dealt with it. Right there, they hear you. They know, oh, whoa, she coaches. She does one-on-ones. So it's, you're weaving all that in there together, and it's really special, can be repurposed 1,000 different ways. And those of you in VIP, about the Front Row CEO content creation system. This is the epitome of anchor content. It is your anchor, and then you can chop it up so many different ways, and you have something to email your audience about. Look at this episode this week. These are the highlights. Come and, you tease them in that email. You bring them over to the podcast, and they listen to the podcast, and then you have another call to action on the podcast. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. Elizabeth says, I've never even thought of doing a podcast. Elizabeth people have heard me say this 3 times today, I think, but Elizabeth's new to VIP and she is a dermatologist. And she said, I've never even thought of doing a podcast, literally only on here because it's my first week in VIP and I'm free because I'm on vacation. How do you know if you would be any good on a podcast? Like, is it something I can chat with you about or fill out a survey and know? Because you've made me excited about it. I'm a speaker and moderator for conferences, but podcasts just seem so outside my world, but maybe not. Oh, you answer this, but I'm jumping up and down.
Yeah, no. So speaker and moderator for conferences, I'm even thinking this could be an extension of what you do in terms of like giving them a platform to like giving people a platform that you would normally have in your conferences too. Like it's amazing. If you're someone who speaks, podcasting is a natural extension. If you're someone who coaches, podcasting is a natural extension. And here's why: you're used to delivering your message, right? Or if you're coach, you're used to asking really good questions. So those are really easy, natural fits. But yeah, I'm happy to talk to you if you want to talk about it. But I really believe if you're someone who has a message and a mission and you're wanting to grow your business and your platform, there's no better place than podcasting for that. And it's a great way to get started too. And with coaching, if you're a coach, this is something that's also really great too. I actually, for my very high-end clients, depending upon how things go, will offer it as a bonus for working with me. that I will interview them at the end of our time working together, and they can showcase their business on my show. So it's an added bonus of something you can put in. And it's just an incredible platform. So I would say this: if you're someone who's in the area where you're sharing your expertise through your voice and a message, or you're someone who brings people together and likes to shine light on them and showcase them, it's a natural no-brainer to have a podcast.
Yeah, and this brings us all for full circle to what you initially talked about podcasting with on purpose. And I spoke with Elizabeth yesterday. We chatted for a little while on Zoom, and she very much has a purpose, and she's super passionate about what she's building and what she wants to do. And she's not like other dermatologists. I'll just say that. And so I do think this would be fantastic for Elizabeth, having a show. So,
well, and Jen knows best because Jen's been talking to you, and Jen knows best. And actually, Jen, I have my front row CEO planner over there. I have to fill out. It's so pretty. I've been delaying writing in it. It's so nice.
I hear that a lot.
So beautiful. If you guys haven't checked out her front row CEO planner, she has a book that's actually a physical book with the anchor content that she's talking about for the podcast. And you can actually map it all out. So I'm really excited about doing that for the next quarter. I've been like, okay, I got to write in it, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Thank you. I do love that paper. That was very nice of you to shout that out. Thank you. But this is your show. And you guys, podcastonpurpose.com. 72 hours is all you have for this offer. This is a steal. When I started my podcast, I did do it the hard way because it's a long story, but why I started it, that's irrelevant. But I just had to get in there and do it. So I was YouTube videoing everything.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a little course. It was just like the first one that I saw, and I cobbled it together, but I didn't do all the things that you really should do to properly launch a podcast. And I do think that affected my momentum. Like, if I would have done it the right way and just gone to an expert like Debbie, I didn't know that Debbie was around at that time, but I would have been so much farther ahead. So I'm so excited for everybody who takes you up on this offer. Any parting words for us?
Yeah, I would just really say, our world is going through a lot right now, and there's nothing that we've known in the past that's 100% is 100% anymore. And it's a time when we really need to reach within and listen to that inner wisdom and that inner voice that's inside of us. So if there is a wisdom that's coming through you that's wanting to be shared, that's bringing in some new wisdom for this world right now, it's so important. Now is so the time for your voice to be out there, to be helping people. And are people right now that are waiting for what it is that you have to share, that or they're going to keep waiting until they hear your voice coming through. So whatever platform it is, if it's a podcast, if it's a video, however you choose to get that message and that purpose out into the world right now, we need you. And I really would encourage you not to wait, because the time truly is now, and it is your time to podcast on purpose. And I appreciate you so much for being here today.
Oh, what a great way to close. Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you, everyone who joined us. If you're watching the replay or if you're live and you need to ask Debbie anything, just tag her down below, and I'm sure she'll swoop in and chat with you. So thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.